We continue learning 5 minutes of tefillah. We're going to be wrapping up Chilui today. Yesterday we spoke about the incredible concept of why us Yidden can't sit still, why we sway, why we shuckle, and we learned that the depth, as everything has a much depth in life, the depth is not merely that we just can't sit still. Explained to Shimshon Pincus that when one is davening, the Shechina is with him. And when the Shechina is with us, that creates a fire, that creates a pachad, that creates one to shake, to shuckle, to tremble. And that's really at the depth of why one is shaking when he davens. And secondly, taught Rav Shimshon Pincus that the chashivos of tefillah, we're doing something incredible. Moshe Rabbeinu is saving Klal Yisrael. So when you're doing such a thing, how can you just sit still? You shake a little bit. The second reason why we shake when we daven. But continues Rav Shimshon Pincus that he says there's something a little bit deeper over here. And with this he explains what he calls the Iker Hatzlacha B'Torah, the main way to have success in the Torah. And he explains as follows. He says, we all know that everything is dependent upon the yigiyah, how much toil one puts in. But why is that true? Why is toil such a critical ingredient? Explains Rav Shimshon Pincus that in reality, all of our neshamas, our souls, are connected intrinsically with the Torah. And he says it's Yadua from the Kadmainim, Shekol Nishamahi Ois Achas in the Torah. Our soul is its own Ois letter in the Torah. That's the reason why we know that when any Yid is nifter, when anyone dies, from the most simple people to the greatest sages, it's like a Sefer Torah that is burnt, because there's a letter in the Torah that is being lost. So says Rav Shimshon Pincus with such an understanding that our neshamas are connected. They are intrinsically part and parcel of the Torah. So now one wants to have success. It's dependent upon how much we could get inward, because covering over that soul, that neshama, our body, is the physicalities. And if we could remove the physicalities and dig deeply into the neshama, that's how one will have success. That is the yigiyah, that is the toil. He says you want to plant something in ground that is hard. What do you have to do? You have to break through the ground and then plant the seed. Says the Shimshon Pincus, we want to get into the neshama. We have to break through the body, and then we could plant inside our souls. And he continues and he says the same thing is by tefillah, that when one comes to daven, he's coming to connect intrinsically, like we learned yesterday, with the Shechina. But there's a problem. Our neshama wants to connect, but our body, our physicalities block us, separate us from the kedusha that there is. And only with toil, with hard work, with physical labor, could we connect intrinsically with the Shechina, with the tefillah. And he quotes the Naim Elimelech Nesetel HaKatan that he says you should daven b'kol koichai, with all your might. Why? Why am I davening with all my might? I'm talking to God. He's right in front of me. Just calmly talk. Shem hears you. Why do I need koyach? Why do I need strength? Why are there concepts that amein yesh meirabo b'kol koichai? What are we doing? What, we're screaming to God? He can't hear us? He's right in front of us. What are we davening with all our strength? Says the Naim Elimelech, no, because the avodah of tefillah is breaking through our body, and that's a physical act to break through those layers and layers of physicalities to reach the neshama within. And therefore, concludes Rav Shimshon Pincus, when we sway, when we shuckle, when we bow, these are all actions, physical actions to chip away at the physical body, and that creates that our body is at some level being broken. He says it's like atzmaisav kishvurais. They're broken bones. We're just a collection of bones. Why? Because it allows our neshama to shine from within. And if you think about it, in the course of a tefillah, how many times does one move? How many times does one sway? So if we think about what we're doing with a drop of thought, as everything is, it will allow us to realize that every motion that we do, every time we shuckle, every time we sway, every time we bow, what are we doing? We're slowly but surely chipping away at the physical bodies that there are. We're utilizing what the Naim Elimelech said, the kol kaichai, We're using our energies to break through our physical bodies, then allow that neshama to connect to our Creator through tefillah.